Hey yo, what's good, people? It's your boy reporting straight from the 90s. By the mid-90s, the lunchbox era gave way to the corner store run. You weren't packing pouches anymore, you were grabbing bottles tall enough to look rebellious and sweet enough to make a dentist sigh. Brands were in an arms race for attention. Neon labels, extreme slogans, and flavors that sounded like band names. Mall food courts, skating rinks, movie theaters. This is where the teen drink canon took shape. We're talking about the fruit drink wave that painted the decade in psychedelic colors, the 99-cent cans that lived in every bodega, the sodas that tried to reinvent themselves, sometimes literally going clear, and the sports drinks that made PE class feel like the Olympics. This wasn't hydration, this was a statement. Grab a tall can, twist the cap, pop a weirdly fancy seal, cause we're stepping into the golden age of 90s teen thirst culture. Let's get it.
Caterpillar, butterfly, fruit, fruitopia.
If there was ever a drink that screamed 90s teen culture, it was Fruitopia. Launched in 1994 by Coca-Cola, this wasn't just a juice, it was marketed like a lifestyle. The ads were trippy, almost psychedelic, with swirls of fruit floating around in some alt-rock soundtrack. It was like Coke's answer to Snapple, but instead of quirky facts under the cap, you got deep phrases on the bottle like fruit integration is the new peace movement. Trippy, right?
Fruitopia.
Flavors like strawberry passion awareness and citrus consciousness weren't just names, they sounded like poetry homework, and that was the whole vibe. Fruitopia was supposed to make drinking juice feel like rebellion, like you were more enlightened than the Capri Sun crowd. For a while it worked. Fruitopia machines were in high schools, malls, and even colleges. If you were a teen in the mid-90s, grabbing a Fruitopia meant you were plugged into the culture.
Responds to Tropicana Twister's designer flavors.
How absolutely uncalled for.
Tropicana Twister, deliciously exotic flavors Mother Nature never planned on.
While Fruitopia was busy trying to be deep and artsy, Tropicana Twister came through with pure, colorful chaos. Launched in the early 90s, Twister was like the fun cousin of orange juice. The bottles looked like they belonged at a Nickelodeon slime party, and the flavors were loud. Tropical punch, strawberry orange, even crazy mixes like citrus cooler. But my favorite was that strawberry banana, boy, I tell you.
Deliciously exotic flavors Mother Nature never planned on.
One sip is a world of trouble.
Orange strawberry guava, orange mango, mandarin orange papaya.
Could lead to dancing.
The appeal wasn't subtle. These drinks were bright, sweet, and hit you like a sugar rush in liquid form. You'd spot them in the cooler at the corner store, or your mom might grab a few bottles thinking she was buying juice instead of what was basically soda without bubbles. In a decade obsession with neon colors and extreme vibes, Tropicana Twister fit right in. It wasn't thoughtful or mysterious like Fruitopia. Twister was like, here's fruit, here's sugar, have fun, all right?
Hi there, a bodybuilder from California writes, nothing tastes better than a Snapple after an intense workout. Teddy, you lift it, you keep it.
Before energy drinks and fancy sparkling waters took over, Snapple was the drink that made you feel like you were leveling up. It started blowing up in the early 90s with that iconic slogan, made from the best stuff on earth. Unlike the wild neon branding of Twister or the trippy vibes of Fruitopia, Snapple leaned into being quirky and clever.
And it's true. Snapple still is the best thing that ever came out of New York. You got it.
Snapple made from the best stuff on earth.
And the hook? Those famous Snapple facts under the cap. Suddenly, cracking open a mango madness or kiwi strawberry wasn't just a drink, it was a mini trivia lesson. Kids collected those caps like Pokemon cards, and everybody argued which facts were real. Snapple was also one of the first drinks to market itself as natural. Even though it was still sweet as hell, it felt a little more grown up, like you were too cool for Kool-Aid, but not quite ready for black coffee. In the 90s, pulling up to school or the mall with a Snapple in hand was a quiet flex, and it said, yeah, I've got taste. If there's one drink that defined the 90s corner store hustle, by far it's the Arizona iced tea.
Wow, this is too great for one person.
Those giant 23-ounce cans were legendary, big, colorful, and always 99 cents. It didn't matter if you were in the bodega in New York, a gas station in the Midwest, or a strip mall in California, Arizona was there, stacked high and waiting. Flavors like lemon iced tea, green tea with honey, and mucho mango became instant classics. Because they were cheap and massive, kids were treating them like hydration cheat codes. One could get you through a day of skating, hooping, or just hanging out on the block. The tall can itself practically was a fashion accessory. Walking around with one in your hand said, "Yeah, I got taste," and I didn't even have to break $1. Arizona wasn't just a drink, it was a cultural equalizer. Everyone had one, everybody loved it, and that 99-cent price never changed until now. If the 90s had an energy drink before energy drinks, it was Surge. Coca-Cola dropped it in 1996 as their answer to Mountain Dew, and they went all in on the extreme branding. The commercials looked like the X Games highlight reel. Kids jumping off of rooftops, skateboards flying, walls getting smashed, all fueled by that neon green soda. Surge wasn't just a drink, it was a dare. Teachers banned it in schools, parents side-eyed it, and that only made kids wanting more. One sip and you were buzzing like you could stay up all night playing GoldenEye on N64. For a while, Surge had kids convinced it was like rocket fuel in a bottle.
Surge. It's a fully loaded citrus soda with carbos. Beat the rush.
The hype eventually faded by the 2000s, but in the 90s, Surge was the king of your mom doesn't approve but you're drinking it anyway category. It made every sleepover, an arcade trip, an LAN party feel like a high-octane event.
What do you think?
Have you ever tasted Crystal Pepsi?
No, actually I haven't. It doesn't really taste like Pepsi.
What do you think?
So I do just take a sip.
Few 90s drinks were as weird and unforgettable as Crystal Pepsi. Launched in 1992, it was Pepsi's big experiment, a cola with no caramel color. Totally clear, marketed as pure and futuristic. The ads leaned heavy on that clean, transparent vibe with Van Halen's Right Now blasting in the background. The thing is, it looked like 7-Up but tasted like Pepsi, and that just confused people. Kids would grab a bottle out of curiosity, sip it, and then argue with their friends if it actually tasted different. Spoiler, it didn't. But the novelty made it legendary. Crystal Pepsi didn't last long. By the mid-90s, it disappeared. But for those who remember, it's etched into 90s culture as one of the boldest, most bizarre soda stunts ever. It was like drinking the future. That just happened to taste exactly like the past.
If you're gonna come out to play, you better not fake it.
Kick it! Quench it!
Gatorade in the house! Come on!
By the 90s, Gatorade had already been around for decades, but this was the era it started to feel bigger than sports. The company rolled out new lines like Frost and later Fierce with flavors like Glacier Freeze and Riptide Rush.
Gatorade. Nothing helps you go longer or stronger.
Kick it! Quench it! Kick it!
Word up!
Quench it!
Come on, come on!
Kick it like this! Gotta get me Gatorade!
Those icy blue and purple bottles hit different. Suddenly, Gatorade wasn't just the thing coaches gave you at halftime, it was what kids grabbed out of the cooler at the corner store. In commercials, you'd see Jordan, Grant Hill, or the Be Like Mike campaign, and they were all pouring neon liquid over their heads like it was holy water. And for the kids in the 90s, drinking Gatorade was like plugging yourself into that same energy. It was hydration, sure, but it was also branding genius, making every playground one-on-one feel like the NBA Finals. The Frost flavors especially gave Gatorade that cool, futuristic look that matched the era's obsession with extreme everything. It wasn't just about quenching thirst, it was about belonging to the team, even if the only team you were on was the dodgeball team at recess. You were still a champion though, player. Don't let nobody tell you different. Long before energy drinks had us bouncing off the walls, man. Mountain Dew was the original teen rocket fuel. By the 90s, it had already built a reputation as the soda of choice for gamers, skaters, and anybody who wanted that edge. The commercials leaned hard into do-the-do energy, extreme sports, wild stunts, and that neon green liquid that practically glowed in the dark. The taste was citrusy, sugary, and powerful enough to keep you on a game marathon on the N64, or late night marathons for the movies. If Surge was Coke's attempt at going extreme, Mountain Dew was the OG. It didn't need rebranding. It already had the culture on lockdown. For a lot of 90s teens, a 20-ounce bottle of Mountain Dew was less about thirst and more about identity. Holding that green bottle said, yeah, I'm wired, I'm awake, and I'm not going home anytime soon. It was the unofficial sponsor of all-nighters, sleepovers, and sketchy backyard skate ramps that we should all be grateful that we survived. Real talk. And there it is, people. The Hall of Fame of 90s teen and extreme drinks. From Fruitopia trying to make juice feel like poetry, to Surge convincing us that sugar was basically a superpower, to Crystal Pepsi pulling the boldest disappearing act in soda history. These weren't just drinks, man. Without a doubt, they were culture. They were the tall cans in your hand at the mall, the bottles clutched while you tried to land a kickflip, the neon fuel for every late-night video game session. So I gotta know, which one of these fueled you for the 90s? Were you all about that 99-cent Arizona can, or were you daring enough to go clear with Crystal Pepsi? Drop your answer in the comments. Hit that like button if you ever stayed up late off that dew, and subscribe so you don't miss our next dive into another piece of pure 90s history. Because just like these drinks, our nostalgia never got flat, and that's on the real. We out, y'all.